Greetings and welcome to Maldo's Magic podcast. The title for today's talk would be Tarot and High Magic. This was from a slideshow given at a tarot class, Tarot Academy at Buddha Belly Records in Sayville, New York. So the title is Tarot and High Magic, Cancer Season and the Chariot Tarot Key number 7. This is Maldo's Magic. So now, if we look at the symbol right here, this is called the Hermetic Cross. So the Hermetic Cross has the Rose Cross in the center, and around the Hermetic Cross we have the 3 mother letters of Shin, Mem, and Aleph, which correspond to fire, water, and air. Surrounding it we have the 7 double letters of Dalet, Gimel, Tau, Kaf, Pei, and Resh. And around it we have the 12 single letters of He, Kof, Zadi, Ein, Samik, Nun, Lamed, Yod, Tet, Chet, Zain, and Vav. Now, on the top part, this is the area that's associated with air and the east. This is the blue area associated with water and the west. The red is associated with fire and the south, and this area right here is associated with earth and the north. So this is a Hermetic Cross which is worn on the lamen of the adepts in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and within this contains all the knowledge from the preceding degrees up until the level of adept. What is High Magic? High Magic refers to a form of ceremonial or ritualistic magic that is often associated with esoteric traditions and philosophical or spiritual practices. It is typically distinguished from low magic, which focuses more on practical everyday spells and charms. High magic encompasses a variety of complex rituals, symbol gestures, and invocations aimed at spiritual development, enlightenment, or achieving a higher state of consciousness. Now, if we look on this picture, this is or correlates with the Magician Tarot card, which, if you look at the Magician Tarot card, there's magical implements on his table. We have the wand, represents fire, and it's used for invoking. We have the sword, represents air, used for banishing. We have the cup of water, or cups, or the grail, which is used for water purification. And we have the pentacle, which is the symbol that represents earth and the earthly plane. Theurgy versus Thaurgy. So in magic, there's 2 forms of magic. You could do theurgy. High magic is often categorized into 2 branches, theurgy or thaurgy. Theurgy involves rituals designed to invoke divine forces and achieve spiritual ascent, while thaumaturgy focuses on performing miracles or supernatural feats. So ceremonial magic mainly deals with theurgy. So basically, we're doing ceremonial rituals. We're using tarot cards. We're using the symbols that are woven within the tarot cards to help us affect change on ourselves. Then, obviously, if we affect ourselves first, then we could help, change the world or bring that positive energy into the world. Whereas in thaurgy, you would be doing rituals more or less to invoke like a miracle or something on the external plane. Ceremonial magical practices. High magic involves elaborate ceremonies that may include the use of sacred texts, ritual tools such as wands, chalices, pentacles, specific garments, and invocations of deities, angels, or other spiritual entities. So let me show you right now. I have this is my double wand of power. Okay, so at the black end we would use when we're doing some banishing. So we would draw a pentagram from down here. We'll go up, go down, go across, go over, and go back down, and that would be a banishing pentagram. If we were invoking with this double wand of power, we would use the white end and start from up top, go down, cross, over, back, and up, and that would be an invoking pentagram. If I wanted to do just a banishing ritual, I would use my banishing dagger. Now let's see if I have it here somewhere. that would be great. Maybe not. But basically, I would use the dagger to banish or clear the space. Let me see if I have it here somewhere. Okay. All right. Perfect. So this is a banishing dagger. This is actually my Eluko and Martinez dagger. So I would only use this for banishing. So it would be the same principle. I would start down here, go up, down, over, cross, and back down. And I would be using that if I'm doing a banishing or purifying or cleansing ritual and I want to clear my space or clear working within a new space. Symbolism correspondence. So now we see the picture here. We have the magician. So as stated before, see the magician. He's working in a garden, but on his table he has all the magical implements shown in before. So now, when you're studying tarot, it's not about just using your intuition. You kind of have to really understand, who created these tarot decks, right? And the Rider-Waite deck, a Rider-Waite Smith deck, is the most commonly used tarot deck today, which we would go over in further slides. So basically, yes, the magician, just on the surface level, someone maybe that could do magic, but we're not talking about parlor trick magic. We're talking about ceremonial magic. We're talking about high magic. So, if you actually look at the picture, you have the roses, which represents his desires, and you have the lily, which represents, his intellect from, gained from his sense knowledge, from the senses. And on the table he has magical implements. So there's the wand, there's the sword, which is used for banishing, the cup of water, purifying, and the pentacle. And these four implements on the table also represent the four elements of fire, water, air, and earth. So Kabbalah and other esoteric systems. Many traditions of high magic draw upon the Jewish mystical system known as Kabbalah, especially its tree of life and the concept of the Sephiroth. The Sephiroth are actually the 10 different emanations or spheres that are on the tree of life. Other esoteric systems such as Hermeticism, alchemy, and the teachings of the Rosicrucians and the Golden Dawn play a significant role as well. So if you see the top right corner is a famous Rosicrucian symbol used by the Rosicrucians. The bottom right is a symbol used by alchemists and Rosicrucians too as well. And the center is a glimpse of the Tree of Life, which is used by Kabbalists, Hermetics, alchemists, and people that are into high magic. The Tree of Life. So the Tree of Life, has 10 spheres as mentioned before. And this is how it connects to Hebrew letters, because there's actually 22 paths on the Tree of Life, and the Hebrew alphabet has 22 letters. So the first top part is called Kether in Hebrew, the crown in English. That's where the divine emanation, the first spark, comes from up top. That's why it's the pure white light. Next, it goes down to Chokmah. So that is this area right here, wisdom. Then it shoots over to Binah, that's understanding. Goes down to Hesed, mercy. Across to severity or Geburah, excuse me. And then down to beauty, which is right in the center, which is Tefereth. Goes down to the green one is Nexak, which is victory. Across to the orange, which is Hod or splendor. Down to the foundation, the purple one, and then down to Malkuth. Malkuth is a kingdom. So this is the Kabbalistic diagram of consciousness, the map of the creation of consciousness. So 22 paths connect with the 22 Hebrew alphabet, as mentioned before, and also the 22 major arcana keys. Each card is used in path working between different sephiroths. They also act as an astral gateway to the next sphere, which you would visualize while doing path working. Magical orders and lineages. High magic is often practiced within the context of magical orders or societies, such as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the Ordo Templi Orientis, or the OTO, and the AA. These organizations provide structured training, initiations, and a lineage of teachings passed down through generations. So, I can speak for myself, but upon entering, before I started ceremonial magic, all the mystical arts, I got into basic metaphysics. So I like to categorize it or compare it to as like New Age. So which is great. It's your first taste into the spiritual realm. Learning about crystals, learning about energies, learning about vibration, learning about the law of attraction. Doing ceremonies, and really, I want to like explain it as it's like more or less exploring the spiritual realm. But the only thing about the New Age is that it's designed to be more of a free thought, right? And you do what resonates with you. But when you're really trying to affect change, and it's recommended to do a system, or a proven system that has worked, with different initiates throughout the ages. So that's when it comes to, ceremonial magic is for more serious practitioners who want to now actually take what you're learning about these crystals, about, different incenses, different vibrations, and actually learn a system that's organized in a way that it's not going to affect your psyche. Because sometimes people jump into it and there's different avenues like plant medicine or ayahuasca, and which is great. It can be healing, but it can affect people differently. And if you don't have the mental fortitude, or like Israel Lagarde said, if you haven't went through therapy first, it's really not too smart to just jump into these things, especially plant medicine. Let's talk about the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Okay, so this was a prominent magical order found in the late 19th century in England. It was established by William Wynne Westcott, Samuel Little McGregor Mathers, and William Robert Woodman. It drew upon early Rosicrucian and Masonic traditions. The order became one of the most influential organizations in the Western esoteric tradition, shaping modern practices of ceremonial magic, astrology, alchemy, and Kabbalah. What I find interesting about this order, and is that it was truly progressive at its time, because it was one of few orders that actually was co-ed. It actually allowed females. So traditional masonry has always been, just a men's only um, spiritual group, or group of personal growth and attainment for men. But the Golden Dawn, even though it was created by Masons, it actually included the feminine, or our divine counterpart, because there's divine masculine and divine feminine. And another famous person within the magical realm, which you probably hear a lot, there's some shows that talks about him, is Aleister Crowley and Thelema. So he's one of the most influential figures in modern high magic. He founded the religion of Thelema. Crowley works, and some of his works are the Book of the Law, Magic in Theory and Practice, and had a profound impact on contemporary magical practices. So basically, he was a member of the Golden Dawn, and he then left, when they had many schisms, and he basically also joined the OTO, which at the time, wasn't a magical order. It was more of a Masonic order that dove into to different texts in a more esoteric manner. And he founded, the system of the AA. So that was his magical system, to complete, and it was very close and lined, with the grades and the names of the Golden Dawn's magical system. So now let's talk about the most common used tarot decks. So we have the most common used tarot decks, which you would see in movies, is the Rider-Waite tarot deck, Rider-Waite Smith tarot deck. So basically, this tarot deck, was created by Arthur E. Waite, was one of the authors of this deck. And what's interesting is that he was also a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. So then you would kind of understand past the realm of just the surface level of the picture and your intuition, that this deck was created with there was a precise reason, and the symbolism, was in place to evoke, some kind of an understanding of the magical practices as a magician within high magic. The second most commonly used tarot deck is Aleister Crowley's Thoth deck. Also important because he was someone that was also in the Golden Dawn. This deck is second most commonly used deck, but I would say that it's maybe not the easiest deck to understand, even though he does lay out, like the Hebrew letters and the different zodiac signs or astrological signs there for you, so that you could, or the planetary signs are there, so you kind of understand that. Whereas in the Rider-Waite deck, it's just a picture. There'll be Roman numerals up top, but there's no Hebrew alphabet there, and he's not really alluding to, or being explicit in showing you that, the actual zodiac symbol, so you could kind of understand what this card represents or connects. And the third most common used tarot deck is the Boda tarot deck. Boda stands for Builders of the Adiatum, which stands for Inner Temple in Greek. And this deck was created for Paul Foster Case's group, and he was also a member, and he was a temple chief of a Golden Dawn temple in the city, Manhattan. And he was also basically, this is just show you that these three decks were all influenced by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. So you can kind of really understand the decks, you have to understand, we have to go to that order first, and try to understand what they were trying to do in their symbolism, to go down to now to what we use daily to really be able to interpret these decks and these cards, and to really be able to give a good concise reading if you're using it for that, or to have a good concise meditation based on understanding the symbolism of each card. Golden Dawn Tarot. So these are a couple other tarot decks. They're not the most common ones, but these are the Golden Dawn. So the first one was the Robert Wong and Dr. Israeli Regardi deck. It's just nice. It looks very old school. The artwork on it. It's like we could tell someone drew it, but it looks nice. It's basic, it's not elaborate. It gets the point across. I like that deck. I use it for time to time. The deck in the middle, was the actually first tarot deck that I came across of while working at the Flow Place. One of the people there, one of the customers or clients at the Flow Place was using the deck, and she pulled a card. And it's funny, the first card that she pulled, or the first card that I got to experience was the Hierophant card. So that has always stuck to me. And this card was these cards were based upon the esoteric workings of the Secret Order of the Golden Dawn by Godfrey Dawson. So those are nice, all in black and white. These are cool because it's very descriptive with the symbolism there. And it gives you some Hebrew writing of some angels. And it gives you some symbols so you can kind of understand what zodiac sign or planetary energy the card connects to. And the final Golden Dawn tarot deck, which is commonly used in Hermetic Order Golden Dawn temples throughout the world. This is the Golden Dawn Magical Tarot by Chick and Cicero and Tabitha Cicero. This deck is amazing. The colors on it, it's great. It tells you, it has the Hebrew letters on it. It has the symbol, so you can understand what zodiac sign or planetary energy is connected to the card. And the artwork is just incredible. It's great. It's clear. It's bright. I always enjoy working with this deck. It comes with a actual book, like a big book, not a small booklet like some of the decks, but an actual small book. Let's see if I have it here. 1 second. Yeah, so it's nice. It's big. Okay. You open it up, and a nice tab here, and it just has this great book that just goes over all like the basics you would need to know about Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, about ceremonial magic, about the Kabbalah, the Hebrew. So everything, the foundation you need to really truly know to be able to understand or embark on using these decks. All right, so now let's talk about Cancer season. So right now we're currently in Cancer season, and Cancer season is from June 21st to July 21st. The element it connects to is water, of course, right? It's a cardinal sign, so it's cardinal water. Ruling planet is Mars, so is the moon. Excuse me. The moon rules Cancer. The symbol is a crab, as we could see. Qualities are emotional, nurturing, intuitive, protective, and sensitive. The key phrase is I feel. Key word is devotion. Cardinal sign, just so we can understand what a cardinal sign is. There's cardinal signs, there's cherubic or fixed signs, and there's mutable signs. So a cardinal sign is basically a sign that initiates a season. So Cancer initiates the summer season. Okay, if we go to the next one, you would see like a Libra would initiate the fall season. Capricorn would initiate the winter season, and Aries would initiate the spring season. That's why these are cardinal signs. So it's like the beginning, the cardinal, and it directs, and it points you in a way. So cardinal signs, mark the beginning of each season, are known for their initiative and leadership qualities. So they are dynamic and pioneering, often setting things in motion and bringing new ideas to the forefront. So now let's talk about how it connects to tarot. So the tarot card that it connects to is the Chariot. So the Chariot is in the Major Arcana deck. Okay, it's tarot key number 7. And the Hebrew letter is chet, which means fence or enclosure. Symbolism represents determination, willpower, and control. It signifies a journey or progress, aligning with Cancer's intuitive and nurturing nature. Astrological connection is the Chariot card is directly associated with the Cancer zodiac sign, embodying its protective and determined traits. So if we look at that, and Cancer, what is a crab? Crab is a crustacean, so its vital organs are contained within a shell. So, and you can see if you look at the Chariot card, he's contained in the Chariot, so which could be a shell, right? Could be a space that protects himself, and then within himself he has also armor on, protecting him too as well. And we'll dive deeper to the symbolism of it shortly. So the Chariot contains all the prior cards. So within the Chariot, you actually see, the Magician, you see the High Priestess, you see the Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant, and the Lovers. And where you see it is you have to, look really deep, even just connecting the colors. So the yellow background, the Magician connects to the Chariot's yellow background. We have the crescent moon, a waxing and waning, and the full moon over the High Priestess's on her head, which be seen on the shoulders on the left and right, or you see the waning and waxing moon. Now you see the moon on the Empress. Empress is holding a foot on the moon, and the moon is what rules Cancer. Okay, and then the Emperor, he's an emperor. He's holding a scepter, so the Chariot also holds a scepter, and the Charioteer also has a crown on. His crown is actually of pentagrams, which we talked about pentagrams before, and he is also wearing some kind of it looks like a battle helmet, but the Emperor is someone that rules. Okay, and now also the Hierophant, you can also see now some similarities here. The Hierophant is someone that rules. He has almost like the three-tiered Pope hat on right now, and he has his two supplicants before him. But if you notice too, it has the rose and lily, so that can connect to the Magician. But we see the colors in the background of society, or see all the houses which have with the red roof and the white buildings, so which also could connect to the symbolism of the Magician. And you see the two sphinxes, left and right. In front of the Hierophant, you see two figures, left and right. The next card, the Lovers, very similar too. You see two figures, which are, Adam and Eve, or consciousness and subconsciousness. Archangel Raphael above them. And, so there's a lot of the prior cards are woven into the Chariot. The Chariot and the Hebrew letter chet. So this is the Hebrew letter that's associated with the Chariot. The numerical value is 8. So Hebrew letters have a meaning. So it like Aleph is A, but it also means ox, and it also means the number 1. So this is the Hebrew letter Chet, which means it's like the CH, but the C is silent, so it's Chet. And it's also means a fence, so it looks like a fence, and also the value number 8. So symbolism, protection, boundaries, and the interface between the inner and outer worlds. So there you go. If you see connect to a crab, right? A crab has protection over the chariot, protects the charioteer too as well. And if you notice on the charioteer, so it said interface between the outer and inner worlds. You have the starry canopy. This is a canopy above him, so which represents, the higher astral or universal cosmic influences above. As above, so below, and as below, so above. Also, Het is a fence or enclosure. It signifies protection and establishment of boundaries. It is about creating a secure space within which growth and development can occur. The chariot represents a secure vehicle, an enclosure that carries the charioteer forward. The armor of the charioteer and the enclosed chariot symbolize protection and the creation of a safe space for the journey. Control and mastery. This letter emphasizes the importance of boundaries for maintaining control and order. It suggests mastery over one's environment by defining clear limits. The chariot card reflects control and mastery, particularly the ability to direct and balance opposing forces, often represented by the black and white sphinxes or horses. The charioteer's ability to guide the chariot signifies mastery over internal and external challenges. An interesting thing is that, I don't know about you, but any charioteers I've seen in old movies, they have the reins, right? So if you notice this card in particular, it looks like he's holding something in his left hand, but there's no reins. So this is to really show you that represents our true self, and the chariot is like your personality. It's like your enclosure. So think of yourself as the crab. The crab's muscles, everything's within the shell, right? And the personality, right, is what encloses our true self, our soul, that true nature that's within, that uses invisible reins, right? Because it's invisible connection. We can't see our soul, right? We could connect to it internally, but it's an invisible thing that controls the personality. Interface between inner and outer worlds. So the concept of a fence or boundary also implies an interface between the inner and outer worlds. It is a point of interaction and mediation. The chariot symbolizes the movement between the inner world of the charioteer and the outer journey. It represents the ability to navigate the external world while remaining connected to the inner guidance and intuition. So this also, shows you that connecting to your higher self and letting your higher self guide your intuition, rather than listening to little V's, little voices. You want to connect to the big V's, the big voices, the guardian angels, the angels that are designed, that are put in place to guide and protect you throughout your life. Numerical symbolism. Number 8 signifies balance, cycles, and continuity, reflecting the infinite nature of spiritual journeys and growth. The chariot is the 7th card, but the progression to 8 signifies the movement from mastery and victory to balance, continuity, and stability. Boda symbolism. So within Boda, the bills of the Adiatim, the chariot is seen as a symbol of triumph and the successful integration of opposites. The Hebrew letter Chet is inscribed on the card, emphasizing the protective boundary setting aspects essential for the charioteer's journey. The founder of Boda, Paul Forsakes, emphasizes that the chariot represents the higher self's control over the lower self, a theme mirrored in the protective and boundary setting nature of Chet. Connections to High Magick. A water element. So Cancer is a water sign, which in High Magick is associated with emotions, intuition, and the subconscious. Water rituals and spells often draw on these qualities to enhance emotional healing and psychic ability. Moon magic. Governed by the moon, Cancer's connection to lunar cycles is significant in high magic. The moon's phase influence magical workings related to growth, intuition, and reflection. So now, if you're doing moon magic, it's if you're trying to lose things, okay, you want to do it when right after the full moon and when the moon is waning. So waning means losing light, waxing means gaining light. Okay, so when we get the new moon, that's a really good time to start something new in your life. Why? Because the moon is starting to gain light. This is if you're doing moon magic to connect with the energies of the moon, which also affect the tides, right? And to use that to empower something, or a new beginning. If you're starting a new business idea or new venture, it's always better to start on the new moon if you're using the energies from the moon to energize your new undertaking. Astrological magic, lunar influence. So practitioners might perform rituals during specific lunar phases to harness Cancer's intuitive and protective energies. For example, using the full moon for amplifying psychic abilities and the new moon for setting protective intentions. Cancerian talismans. Creating talismans or amulets under Cancer's influence can enhance nurturing, emotional balance, and protection. So now, if you wanted to do a moon ritual and use Cancer, or use any of the energies, depending on what you're trying to invoke, the moon, and then the zodiac signs. Actually, the moon is actually in each zodiac sign about 2.5 days. So you can start timing it and knowing when the moon will be in this area. So maybe when you want to lose a certain type of thing, or when the moon will be in this sign. So if you want to gain an energy that like such as emotional balance or protection, which would be influenced by Cancer. Okay, Book of Tokens Meditation. This is a great book to use for token meditations. And let's see if I want to read from it. This is places you can find me at. So yeah, this actually basically concludes the first part of the Tarot Academy class that was given at Buddha Belly Records. And these are some places you could find me at. Maldo's Magic, Maldo's.magic with TikTok. Instagram is Jonathan23Maldo11. And a website, www.rosicruciuswellness.com. On that site, you can find a couple of my new products. Archangel Raphael Pain Cream. You could find some St. Benedict exorcist rings, some rosaries, and some other cool items, some cool jewelry too as well. And we'll be definitely adding some more things on there. So, and that's it. And thank you for watching and being a part of this. This is Maldo's Magic.